crush your enemies.
They drew first blood, not me.
See them driven before you.
Oh, my user.
And hear the lamentation of the women.
But I pity the fool.
Glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate.
Phone home.
They're here.
Oh, real light sleeper, child.
Welcome to Vintage Video, where we're rewatching the 80s so you don't have to. We'll be reviewing every major film release of the 1980s in chronological order, overanalyzing what you've seen and spoiling what you haven't. I'm Patrick O'Reilly.
I'm Jesse Bayless.
And I'm Richard Wells.
And today we're discussing Beach House, released May 1st, 1982. It was written by Marino, Amoruso, and John A. Gallagher, directed by John A. Gallagher, and released by New Line Cinema? Really, it was?
Sure.
Jamie Dornan was born May 1st, same day. Happy birthday, Jamie Dornan.
I don't know who that is.
He's in the 50 Shades movies and probably more things than that. Screenwriter Marino Amoruso supposedly had some familial connection to the Brooklyn Mafia world, and in the midst of the late 70s gas shortage, somehow arranged a fleet of limousines to transport the cast and crew from the city to South New Jersey shooting locations. His uncle, Peter Amoruso, also ran East Farmingdale theme park Adventureland, the same one immortalized in Greg Mottola's film of the same name, and footage from that park was blended with footage from the Jersey Shore to achieve the theme park scenes in the film. As you may have guessed, the cast is mostly friends and family of the filmmakers and not professional actors.
Surprise, surprise.
According to reports, the script was inexplicably pitched to Lloyd Kaufman at Troma, and of course he suggested an A-plot involving mutant crabs attacking the beach community.
That sounds so good.
But the filmmakers moved on to New Line with their pitch. It's hard to imagine New Line ever being in the same conversation with Troma in terms of production value, but I guess this is way before they blew up. The working title was Down the Shore, but the marketing team was convinced that Beach House could be confused as a spin-off of Animal House, especially if they were positioned near enough to each other in alphabetical order on video store shelves.
When I did see the opening title card that said New Line, I just kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole looking up New Line Productions. I was like, oh, right. I actually haven't heard of like 99% of these movies.
It was a mess in the early 80s.
There's a bunch of garbage in here.
Lord of the Rings New Line?
What is this? I want to start off by saying, if you've seen this movie, and you haven't, this is one of those complete disasters where at the end of my recap you'll say, oh, that's what happened? Because it's unusually difficult to follow what little story there is. So many characters are fully interchangeable, names are rarely mentioned, and the whole third act looks like it was shot during a power out under a lunar eclipse.
I've been eagerly awaiting your notes on this because I have absolutely no idea what happened.
Well, here we go. The film starts with a car full of young adults pulling up to a house to collect a girl named Janey. She gives her boyfriend Billy a big kiss, and they hop back in the car to drive away in a 2-car caravan. As they drive past a park, they hand off a 6-pack of light beer to some guys tossing a frisbee in a field. They wave the frisbeers to join them, and they all hop in the bed of a Datsun pickup to follow the first 2 cars. Under the rest of the opening titles, we see them chugging beers and playing guitar in the truck bed as it flies down the freeway. They pull up to the titular beach house they've rented for the week, and they race into the upstairs unit to start unpacking right away. One of the guys, Jimmy, announces it's time to take his kid sister Cindy back to her place, and I'm very confused already. Why is she here? Why does she suddenly have to leave? Also, why would they rent a place within a short drive of their own house? But after careful observation, I've come to the conclusion that there are actually 2 upstairs units. One that the guys are staying in and one that the girls are staying in. Did you pick this up, Richard?
I thought that they had a second house because we
never see an exterior to a second house.
Yeah. I know that we go to a second location for like the girls' like parents' summer.
Right, yeah. And that's completely different, unrelated to this.
I just thought that there was another unseen location that they said, oh, they're going to go back to their part.
But he makes it sound like, oh, this is a chore that I have to take Cindy home to her place. And then he walks out of the room literally following his sister, and then 2 guys follow them, and then all 4 of them walk through the same doorway in the same order into the girls' room. And so I don't think they drove. I think they literally just walked right to it, and I think it's another unit upstairs in the same building. But we never see an exterior, so there's no way to confirm this. On the way into the girls' unit, they all walk past a girl named Joanne loading the fridge, and she shouts at Nudge and Googie for trying to dig into the food, which is meant to last them all week. Joanne seems to reconsider her reprimand when she remembers she has a crush on Nudge and offers him his choice of snack anyway. Simultaneously, Nudge remembers how unattractive he finds Joanne and recoils at first from her offer before picking a snack at random.
How about one of those Twinkies?
Oh, sure. Anything for you.
When they're unpacking stuff, they've packed like lamps and toasters.
Yeah.
And
they literally unpack bread into the toaster before they plug it in.
Yeah. And so I feel like there's like a lot of like banter like of them like making drug jokes and innuendos, and it's all just moving dialogue that's moving really quick, but no one is actually saying anything.
Right.
Yeah, there's no plot established.
And the lines are not being delivered from one character to another. It's just a person says a joke and then another person says a joke.
It's serving no purpose.
Out on the town, we meet a second group of young adults, including an obnoxious character named Frank impersonating a young Stallone and complaining that their vacation destination of Ocean City is a garbage town. Somehow his complaining actually convinces most of his crew, who then ask their leader, Mike, why they couldn't go to Fire Island like usual. Presumably the options beside Ocean City and Fire Island would have been Wind Town or Earthburg. Frank, the Stallone impersonator, tells a little guy named Anthony to keep an eye out for girls to hit on, but he calls them tuna fish, and another insufferable character we'll come to know as Snooky badly pretends to laugh at the quote-unquote joke. Driving back to the same beach house, the second group throw an empty bottle at an Ocean City billboard, defacing a sign for the town they chose to vacation in. Turns out Mike and his friends rented the bottom floor under the kids we met earlier. Cecile demands to know who rented the upstairs unit, and Mike reminds her it wouldn't be a normal thing for him to have any fucking idea. Frank and Snooky, the bad laugher, hit on some passing bikini-clad women who have no patience for them, and then the guys start poking around at a car parked on the side yard that belongs to the kids we met upstairs. Frank is literally making plans out loud to steal the vehicle when suddenly those guys are shouting down from upstairs for Frank to get the fuck away from their car. Frankie is offended that they don't want him to steal their car and shouts fake Italian words up at them. Snooky keeps the bad laughter going for the whole scene, and in places it literally just sounds like an asthmatic dog in the background until you realize it's his dumb shit laugh. Inside, Snooky the aggressive laugher loads up the fridge with crap from his suitcase while singing more fake Italian words. And in the process, knocks over Mike's girlfriend, Angela, who jokes he brought too much food. The other downstairs girl, Cecile, gets quickly annoyed when her mustachioed boyfriend, Louie, stretches out for a nap on his vacation.
This place ain't too bad, no?
You want to spend this vacation on your ass again?
I'm relaxing.
Every party is relaxed. That's the problem.
Mike wanders into the kitchen with Snooky and Angie and hangs up a framed portrait of George Washington. And instead of giving Mike a script about why George Washington mattered, they told the actor to just riff it live.
I'll have you know, George Washington is the greatest man who ever lived in the history of the world. If it wasn't for George Washington, you and me, we wouldn't be here today. 200 years ago, he gave us our freedom, and we still got our freedom. And if people like you and him would think about that a little more, maybe this country would be a better place to live in. Now let's go to the boardwalk.
What I felt what this movie was, at this point, I was like, this movie is trying to be Wet Hot American Summer.
Sure.
But it's doing it unironically.
Yeah.
This
definitely wasn't a parody attempt at all.
Yeah, but it feels like it is.
Yeah.
Because they are so overly Italian stereotypes, doing the hand gestures. And I think Cecile says, if you're hungry, there's meatballs in the fridge. It's like, because they're Italian.
Yeah.
So they would just eat meatballs. That's all they eat.
Yeah.
Because they're Italians. The whole movie is like this. But the guy I can't remember the character's name who's napping on the couch. Louie. He does like this thing with his mouth.
Yep. I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. The whole crew, except angry girlfriend Cecile and mustachioed Louie, head out to the beach. In the street outside, the upstairs kids and the downstairs kids pass each other crossing the street, and Frankie picks a fight with Googie, the punk-looking dude from the upstairs crew.
Hey, Mr. Punk Rocker, you look like a f*** with that earring on. Thanks, Pizza Face. I got it from your mother. Hey, don't talk about my mother, man.
And the needless rivalry between upstairs and downstairs continues, always instigated by this asshole Frank character. Anthony from the downstairs crew, who is put in charge of finding girls but still hasn't said a word, keeps eyeing Cindy as they pass each other, and her brother Jimmy noticed.
I didn't like the way that one kid was looking at you.
I did. He was cute.
We get a montage of the guys on the boardwalk ogling women under an original song about Ocean City. Back at the downstairs apartment, Cecile seems to be redressing post-coitally and already complaining that Louie has passed out again.
Bore me to death, Louie.
She wanders out to the porch and rests her legs over the patio wall, catching the attention of Googie and Nudge upstairs, who come down to introduce themselves. They invite her upstairs for a drink, and she asks them to pick her up and carry her up the stairs for some reason. Why are we doing this? That's weird. The heavier-set, older, balding, blonde guy of the bunch, who we'll come to know as Baby, is the first to notice her carried in.
My.
They introduce her to the rest of their friends as awkwardly as possible.
Hey, everybody, I want you to meet our new downstairs neighbor, Cecile. So if you want to borrow any sugar, here's the sugar.
Cecile winks at Jimmy, and his girlfriend Kathy glares at both of them. Baby, the big blonde guy, officially invites her into his cult, the Livers and Lovers of Life.
What?
The livers and lovers of life, to tell it like it is, the way it was, and how it always will be.
Ooh.
Cindy on the couch nearby is still fantasizing about that Anthony kid. When Billy from upstairs realizes Cecile is one of Frank's friends, he warns her he's not a fan.
He's really cruising for a bruise and interrupting my boozing.
Oh, Frankie, he just gets a little carried away sometimes.
Yeah, well, if he doesn't watch his step, he'll get carried away all right. On a stretcher.
And even as he slurs the joke out, he has the most blackout drunk face I've ever seen in my life. Like he looks like a cartoon of a blackout drunk.
I'm sure they were just actually getting drunk.
They had to be.
On set. Set in quotations.
Right, yeah. Baby, the blonde guy, offers her a drink as cornily as he can.
Can I interest you in some liquid refreshment, my fair lady?
Why, sure, big boy.
Oh, baby. How about a supersonic gin and tonic?
And then he hands her a pre-made drink that she should probably be more suspicious of.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Kathy move into one of the bedrooms, and she complains that he seems to need a drink to be with her. Outside, Cindy asks Cecile about the quiet guy she's crushing on. Cecile says his name's Anthony, but he's too shy and scared of women. The gang makes plans to go out dancing, and Cecile wants to change into some party clothes. Arriving back to the downstairs unit, Angela asks the sleeping Louie where Cecile went, but he has no idea, and he asks her to get him a beer. Either Louie has really fucked up teeth, or he's literally wearing fake plastic teeth in his mouth. Because the whole bottom row of teeth are shifting up and like moving around in his mouth as he's lying there. But at first it looks like he's wearing like a werewolf mouth.
Yeah, I thought he was like wearing some kind of mouth guard or...
It was going to
something.
be like a prank where he like jumped up to pretend to be a monster. But he's showing his bottom row of teeth and they like click up and off of his jaw. We cut to the clubs for a long dance montage. As the kids come drunkenly stumbling out of one of the clubs, Baby, whose name apparently doesn't matter enough to have been mentioned yet, asks if they should make Cecile a liver and lover of life. Jimmy asks his friends to take his sister Cindy home again since it's getting so late. Hey Jimmy, you fucking do it. She's your sister, and she's staying in the unit next to the one you're headed back to with your girlfriend now. Why is it our job to take your sister home? Cecile realizes it's almost 2, and Louie will be furious with her for being out so late.
Who's Louie?
My boyfriend. But he doesn't interfere with my love life.
Baby, Nudge, and Googie all start kissing every inch of Cecile the way I would make out with a rack of barbecue ribs. And she's for some reason way into it. Drake, the quiet drummer guy, tries to lay a kiss on Cindy, but she doesn't like tall, quiet guys. She likes short, quiet guys, and he gets a sharp slap in the face. Everybody hops in the bed of a pickup truck with plans to ignore Jimmy's instructions and bring Cindy along to the boardwalk.
Doesn't your brother want you in bed?
I sure do.
I'm 18. I can do what I want. Honey, I was your age when I was 12.
Later, the gang are hanging out on the boardwalk and launch into an a cappella performance of Daisy Bell, presumably chosen entirely on account of its 1892 publication and clear public domain standing.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer true. I'm afraid.
Do you guys recall the last time we heard this little ditty?
2001?
I think so, yeah. It might have been somewhere else, but I couldn't find it if it was.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too.
Suddenly, they're found by the rest of the downstairs gang. Cecile introduces her friends from downstairs, boyfriend Louie, obnoxious laugher Angelo, aka Snooky, and Anthony, the quiet one that Cindy can't shut up about. Then Cecile finally names all the upstairs characters for me. Punk singer/guitarist dude is Googie. His shorter bass player friend in a Mickey Mouse shirt is Nudge, and the tall drummer guy who still hasn't said a word is Drake. Finally, the heavyset blonde guy still rocking sunglasses on the unlit boardwalk at 3 a.m. is Baby, apparently using Pokemon logic based on whatever word he says the most.
And this is Baby.
Oh, baby.
There's too many characters in this movie.
Yeah. Too many completely interchangeable characters.
Yeah.
They made me a liver and lover of laughs.
That's right.
They what?
You better believe it.
What'd they do to you? What'd you just do to her?
Cool it, Louie.
I actually really like the delivery of that. He's like, wait, hold on. What the fuck are we talking about? Cecile leaves with her boyfriend and the downstairs crew. Back at the beach house, the upstairs guys start talking about getting some food, but Googie goes on a 3-minute rant about all the money he's already spent tonight.
You're asking me if I got any money?
Huh.
Have you ever sung Baroque music, buddy?
Yeah?
Well, I'm singing Baroque right now. You got me? You get my drift?
Yeah.
I had a lot of money in this pocket. Now, the only thing I got in there is lint. I took you out tonight. I bought you all your drinks. I bought Cecile the drinks that you said you bought for her. I'm broke. I don't like it. It's getting me a little bit irritable, okay?
Okay. Look, I don't want to argue with you, okay?
Well, maybe I want to argue, okay?
All right,
It's making me angry. Want to have an argument?
To save money, they plan to steal from the girls' fridge in the neighboring upstairs unit. And all the dialogue is as corny as this.
Well, listen, babies. This plan calls for care, skill, and above all, creativity.
Amen.
It really does start to feel like Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
It's like the lines where the joke is,
Yeah.
this is the corniest fucking thing anyone's ever said, and I'm just going to say it because it's here on the page.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to share more of these lines, I viscerally hated every second of this film, and I couldn't even find joy in the dogshit delivery of every half-written line of dialogue. Ready to be even more fucking confused? When the guys sneak up to the back door of the girls' place to raid the fridge, they're moving upstairs. They go out their door, and then they go upstairs. Is this a 3-story beach house?
Maybe.
It doesn't look 3-story from the outside. Maybe they went down and we didn't see that, and then we're seeing them come up a staircase to the back side of the same beach house?
Yeah, maybe there's a separate entrance that requires a separate set of stairs.
But the filmmakers didn't think it was important to establish any kind of a geography. They steal the food and they eat it. The next morning, they're still fat and satisfied by the meal when Joanne and Debbie walk in demanding payment for the stolen food.
Glad you enjoyed it, boys. That'll be $10.
You fed like 4 fat dudes for $10? Like, that's a pretty sweet deal. Even in 82, I feel like. Instead of paying them back, Nudge promises that they'll pay for all the supplies for a 4th of July turkey and tequila party tonight, and this seems to appease the girls. Back in the girls' unit, a behemoth of a man wanders right in the door, enticed by Cindy's roommate Terry in a bathing suit.
Sorry I scared you. The door was open, so I just wandered in.
He warns her she might already be getting too much sun, despite the distinct outline of sunglasses on his own sunburnt face. When Cindy comes out, he introduces himself as Marty, and finally they ask this complete stranger to leave their room. Marty tries to put an arm around Cindy as he jokes that her rich parents must have rented the place for her, but she swats it away and he leaves. Downstairs, Angela shows her boyfriend Michael her new swimsuit, but he makes her change because it's too revealing, and she's embarrassing him in front of George Washington.
Still no plot up until this point.
Right, yeah. So far we have people here and then people up there, and if they see each other, they argue.
And it's not even like the plot is we're going to prank those guys upstairs or
Right.
teach them a lesson. It's like, no, there's nothing.
You know what's funny? I didn't even realize until I was reconsulting the IMDb summary that there's like a class difference between these two characters.
Yeah.
They seemed the exact same to me, but because some of them, like the downstairs people are from Brooklyn and the
Yeah.
upstairs people are from Philly, which they almost never mention
Oh, I
in the
didn't
whole
realize
film.
that.
I guess the Philly people are the upper class and the Brooklyn people, but they're renting in the same beach house. Like they're in the same price range, obviously.
And generally in a movie like this, especially in the 80s, you'd be rooting for the quote unquote lower class
Right.
people because like the higher class people with like sweaters tied around their necks and things
But
like that.
here,
It's-
there's literally no indication of any class level whatsoever. In fact, the only odd thing that we see happening is the people downstairs seem to have a lot more food, even though they're the lower class ones, and they have a giant framed portrait of George Washington in their kitchen. Upstairs, they're just making drinks instantly the second they get there, and they're talking about having a turkey and tequila party.
By the way, I do not trust any of these people to properly prepare a turkey.
No, for sure. I mean, it looks like they just got it directly out of a grocery store pre-cooked, for sure.
They're all going to be sick the next day.
Yeah.
That's what the tequila's for.
Yeah.
The alcohol will
to
kill
blame
all
the
Kills all
sickness.
that.
Now we get a montage of beach fun. Cecile keeps pointing out better guys Angela could be with than Michael, but she insists she's not interested, and Michael isn't looking around either.
Don't let him bullshit you. What do you think he wears those mirrored sunglasses for? I think they look cool. Yeah, well, he wears them so he can look, and you don't see where he's looking.
Frankie won't go in the water because he just saw Jaws 2. Later, as she applies sunscreen to Michael's back, Angela asks about Cecile's sunglasses theory.
Do you wear those sunglasses so you can look at the girls and no one can see where you're looking?
No, Angela, I wear them because of the sun.
Oh.
Cecile plays a loyal wing woman and drags Anthony across the beach to meet Cindy. She immediately asks him to apply her sunscreen. While he sloppily applies it, she asks if it's true Brooklyn is full of gangsters. He admits there's a few, which, knowing what I mentioned before, that the filmmaker seems to have had some ties to those families, explains part of how this film was written.
Mm-hmm.
She asks where he plans to go to college, and he stumbles over his line about why he won't be going.
Why? None of my friends went to college. And I don't feel it's important for me to go to college.
Cut and print. Let's keep it moving, people. It's becoming very clear why Anthony is the quiet one. But Cindy is still very interested and offers to seductively wipe his hands clean when he's finished helping her. When Terry and Cecile come back, Cindy invites Cecile and her friends to tonight's TNT party, their clever nickname for turkey and tequila festivities. Cecile will pass along the invite, but promises that at least she'll be there. We cut right to the party with Baby and all the girls posing on one side of the table like a half-assed Last Supper. Apparently, the 12 guests of this party are expected to split a single 5-pound turkey, but as soon as the party is in session, a mob of bare hands reach in to tear the bird to shreds. Chunks of turkey are chased with swigs of tequila right out of the bottle like it's a goddamn hot dog eating contest. Somehow Drake wanders away from the table with both turkey legs, which seems impossibly selfish. That's like half the meat on this table. Wider, we see this party is taking place in an empty youth center as the 3 band members from the upstairs apartment, Googie, Nudge, and Drake, perform together on stage. And suddenly I'm realizing why the drummer made off with the turkey's drumsticks. Get it?
Because he's a drummer.
He's the drummer. It'd have been funnier if he was using the bones to drum.
But he's not.
He's not. Judging from the text stenciled across the bass drum, it looks like their band is called Pleasantville. But then, judging from the credits, it's actually just a sponsored mention of Pleasantville Music Shop, who probably gave them all the instruments for the film. The party stops dead when Cecile and the downstairs crew show up, too late to enjoy any tea or tea. Baby didn't even know Cindy invited them, and is enraged by their appearance. Jimmy pulls his sister aside to warn her that if she keeps messing around with this Anthony kid, he's going to beat the guy up. And as he backs away, a boom microphone rises a foot into the shot from the bottom of the frame. In response, Cindy immediately invites Anthony outside on a walk. Cecile makes out with Googie and Nudge, and the guys lean in to kiss each other. The party starts to get a bit violent. Frankie throws a huge tray of turkey meat at Louie, even though it's been established that the turkey meat was gone before they even showed up to the party. Somehow, Jimmy just noticed that his sister immediately left with the guy he forbid her from talking to. Snooky mocks Baby's cult to his face, and the guys start splashing their drinks on each other.
What's the name of that group that you formed?
Called the Livers and Lovers of Life, low life.
The Livers and Onions of Life?
When Anthony walks back in with Cindy, Jimmy punches the kid in the stomach, and all hell breaks loose. I've honestly edited better fight scenes than this for middle school projects. Everybody goes berserk while 2 completely unidentifiable characters continue making out in the corner, despite being showered in shards of exploding bottles or splashed with their own food. My best guess is that these are the neglected cast members, Terry and Drake, but all of these people look the same because I'm racist against early 80s white people. Cindy knocks her own brother out with another harmless aluminum tray overflowing with turkey meat. Suddenly, we jump cut to a cop, presumably a desk sergeant, or at least an old person with a shitty plastic badge on his shirt pocket. He levels a charge of drunken disorderly at the whole crowd as they stand lined up in front of his desk at the police station. He seems to let them all off with a warning, though, but any future infractions will not be tolerated. As soon as they leave the station, the giant home intruder character, Marty, is dragged by an officer to the same desk.
Oh my God. All I need is you tonight.
The next morning, it seems that the upstairs and downstairs crews have decided to bury the hatchet with a friendly game of baseball, but they're all hungover on tequila and tryptophan, so both teams put on an embarrassing display. They end the game early to go get drunk again. Leaving the field, Cecile encourages Anthony to ask Cindy on a date, so he asks her on a completely unintelligible one. You want to hang out at the Bodo up a Sumpamo? I played this clip so many fucking times. This is what he says.
You want to hang out at the Bodo or something?
I'd love to.
The Bodo up a Sumpamo? She was so excited to go on a date with him, she didn't wait for him to come up with an actual location before she said yes. the Bodo Uppasumpamo.
The Bodo Uppasumpamo?
They part ways, dancing excitedly down abandoned railroad tracks in opposite directions, and Anthony seems to tear his pants with a celebratory jump kick. Back at the beach house, we get a very important scene, integral to the plot. Serious man-to-man chat between Anthony, the Romeo of the story, and Michael, the complete blank slate nothing character of the story. Anthony's sitting on the toilet, and Michael's in a bubble bath. Anthony's first question is actually quite thought-provoking.
Like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, do I talk to her and stuff or what?
He just asked a girl on a date, and he's wondering if he should say words to her or perform the whole date as a #no-makeup mime. Michael shares his nuggets of wisdom.
If you want to talk to her, talk to her. If you want to kiss her, kiss her. You do what you feel is right. Capiche?
He compares his own logic to a very specific baseball game from 13 years ago for some reason.
It's like when the Mets won the World Series in 1969, remember? When they needed pitching, they got pitching. When they had a hit, they hit. With chicks, is the same thing.
Got it. When I need to hit, I'll hit. After Anthony leaves, Michael retrieves a rubber ducky from under the bubbles and kisses it affectionately.
Oh, the ducky.
This is the only human thing he does in the whole movie. Back at her own place, Cindy opens the door to welcome Marty, the creepy wanderer, back inside. Nothing to say about the scene, really. He hangs out and says disgusting shit while she waits for him to leave again, just as her roommates Terry and Debbie walk in.
I'll see you all later. Just leaving. I'll see you later too, Cindy.
If this movie doesn't end with him killing them or them killing him, then it's officially worthless. The rest of the beach housers convene at a local bar to get their drink on. Kathy again implores Jimmy to curb his drinking so they can enjoy their vacation, and he gets in her face and shitty about how sophisticated she thinks she is. Nudge buys a girl at the bar a drink just before her boyfriend comes back.
So, what's your sign, love?
Stop.
It's copacetic.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Just call me Big Spender.
Kathy and Jimmy make plans to spend a night at her parents' empty place just out of town. For some reason, Jimmy invites Billy and Janey along for what was clearly supposed to be a romantic night alone together. Right away, Billy is plundering the liquor cabinet.
And why weren't they staying there to begin with?
Because they wanted to spend money. They had too much money. They wanted a beach house. Anthony walks along a pitch-black beach with Cindy for their third date in 24 hours. We can't see shit, but we can hear them talking and we hear waves crashing. Back at Kathy's parents' place, her boyfriend Jimmy and Janey laugh hysterically as Kathy's non-boyfriend Billy runs around the room trying to make out with her until she shoves him hard to the floor. Back on presumably the beach, Anthony and Cindy sit down in the sand to kiss and start to lean back, but Cindy conks her head on a piece of wood hiding in the shadows. So apparently the characters can't see where they are either. Now we get a makeout montage back and forth from Billy and Janey to Anthony and Cindy. Kathy finally breaks out the big guns and regrets her entire relationship with Jimmy.
I wish I never met you.
It was a dark, dark day in both our lives.
I ever got stuck with a beer brain like you.
Why is she stuck with him? These people aren't married. They have no kids. I don't understand. Why doesn't she just walk away? What would she lose from walking away? She's in her parents' house. Just tell him to get the fuck out, and you're done with him. Later, Kathy smokes and cries at the kitchen table while she listens to her double date couple fucking in the other room. Now we cut to Cecile somewhere incredibly dark, outdoors, and alone. A car pulls up beside her, and the driver, whoever he is, throws a door open for her to hop in. We see his face briefly, but I'm drawing a total blank here. It could literally be any guy from this movie. He tries to kiss her, and she pops bubblegum in his face. Turns out it's Jimmy, fresh from what he seems to consider a relationship-ending fight with Kathy.
Yeah, I just had a big blowout about that with my girlfriend. I should say ex-girlfriend.
Yeah?
I don't know why she cares so much if he has a girlfriend when she definitely has a boyfriend.
Right?
Yeah.
They make out a bit in the car until Cecile suggests they relocate to a nearby motel for a more comfortable night. We see Pleasantville play another song to score Jimmy's motel fucking and Kathy's kitchen crying. Predictably, Cecile advises Jimmy to do whatever he wants and compares her point clumsily to the 1776 Battle of Brooklyn. The next morning, we see Jimmy and Cecile walking back up to the beach house, evidently forgetting they drove to the motel. On the front porch, Frankie and Snooky are singing another classic 1982 hit, 1854's I Dream of Jeannie with the Light Brown Hair, another public domain special.
I dream of Jeannie with the light brown hair.
But see, this is what hammers home the class difference. These are what, like, prep school, upscale college.
But these are the downstairs guys singing it.
Oh, these are the downstairs guys singing it?
Frankie,
oh, well, then
Frankie
never
and
mind.
Snooky are singing it.
Never mind.
There's nothing consistent about anything in this film. Upstairs, Kathy asks Jimmy if his decision is final, and he urges her onto the next bus back to Philly. Downstairs, Louie is chewing Cecile out for constantly going out and fucking strangers while he sleeps, while Frankie and Snooky crack up on the porch overhearing the fight. Anthony arrives back to the beach house with Cindy after apparently sleeping all night in the sand. Cindy passes Kathy leaving on her way up the stairs. Baby leads the single dudes on the balcony in a toast to love and life, and then we hard cut to black for a few seconds, and then we're at Cindy's place where her roommates console her after apparently having broken up with Anthony. They take turns dumping wine down her throat. It feels a lot like that missing reel moment in the Death Proof theatrical cut that cuts around the lap dance, because somehow we skipped right from a burgeoning romance to Anthony already having dumped her, or she dumped him, and she's blaming Jimmy for some reason, even though she's just been ignoring Jimmy and dating Anthony the whole time. Maybe she just means the implied breakup of having to go home at the end of this trip, but that has nothing to do with Jimmy.
But we're leaving tomorrow, and I may never see Anthony again.
Debbie is being weirdly shitty about it, claiming Anthony's not even appealing.
What do you need Anthony for? He's gonna turn out to be an uneducated bum anyways. Or maybe a gangster. But I love him. Ew, he's so greasy.
Read the room, Debbie, Jesus. Cindy asks if they can go to the amusement park, but it closed hours ago. Now, Cindy explicitly claims that Jimmy is somehow the one forcing them apart when he's shown no such persuasiveness thus far.
I'm not breaking up with Anthony. Jimmy's breaking up with Anthony.
Cindy stumbles drunkenly down the stairs to see Anthony again, and her worthless friends decide to let her wander off on her own in that condition. At the same time, Anthony comes up to see her, and Debbie tells him to fuck off because she's not here, like he's the one hurting her. It's like, what are you doing? She likes me. She cares about me. She's trying to find me. You're treating me like a jerk. Jimmy finds Anthony outside and picks another fight with him. As Cindy marches away from the beach house down a pitch-black street, she's noticed and pursued by the massive creeper, Marty. Jimmy and Anthony argue over where Cindy's ended up. Jimmy seems to think Anthony's done something to her. Cindy's roommates explain that Cindy mentioned the amusement park, so Jimmy and Anthony, still contentious, head there separately. Creeper Marty watches Cindy exploring the amusement park and even flips a few switches to activate lights and rides for her.
I like the implication that the whole park is on like a switch. Yep. And so you turn one thing on and all the rides are suddenly moving and lit up.
Yeah.
You're like,
That's
that
how
seems
amusement park, it's literally just one guy who flips a switch.
They're all just running now.
Yeah.
Set it on a timer. You don't even have to show up.
It's all automated.
Yeah.
Carnies are just there for show.
Yeah. They're all robots. She boards a carousel and somehow avoids splashing her pony in wine vomit. Anthony gets to the park first, and Jimmy is close behind. We see Marty board the carousel as well, and he slowly makes his way around it toward her. When she finally catches sight of him, she makes a run for it, moving around the carousel in laps instead of hopping off and leaving the ride. It's like, you're not getting that far away. You can only get maximum like 14 feet away from him. When logic finally prevails, she dashes out into the shadows, but is quickly cornered by Marty, who grips a hand tight over her mouth, still insisting he just wants to talk. She can't breathe, and her vision starts to blur, when finally Anthony arrives to fight Marty off.
Hey, get your hands off her!
Then, for many shots in a row, things happen, and people move, but don't ask me what or where they're going. It's near impossible to identify any of these blurry silhouettes. Nobody is lit head-on, so we just see slivers of jaw lines in the darkness through a violently shaking handheld camera. Just when he thinks he's gotten away from them, Marty is clotheslined by Baby, who's shown up to the park to help them, and he bashes at his chest like an ape over the unconscious body of the attempted murderer.
Yeah, I was like, what is he doing here? He's neither of the two gentlemen that we saw in Pursuit.
Yeah, but he must have just heard something was going on.
He wasn't even part of the conversation.
But he's been drinking out on the balcony, so Baby hears all. He's a liver and lover of life. Bizarrely, the next cut takes us to Jimmy squatting in a field of tall grass. Wider, we see the grass is near a beach. What the fuck is Jimmy doing?
Did he just bury Marty?
I don't know what he's doing. He's just sitting on a hill, like with his knees bent as much as he can. It looks like he has a piece of paper in his hand. No idea what that could be. He's not talking to anybody, and all of his friends are 50 feet away in the sand. We're not going to get a thanks for saving my sister moment or looks like I misjudged you, just a dude squatting in tall grass like he needed to take a shit without taking his pants off. The bandmates play a song on the beach while the guys who didn't go to the amusement park talk about what they would have done to Marty. Snooky flirts with Joanna, who for some reason grants this insufferable goof his first ever kiss.
The band must have only been given like one set of instruments because they're literally playing electric guitars.
Yeah.
On the beach with no amps.
Yep, nothing's plugged in. Just stick that wire into the sand and it'll look real enough. When the band finishes their last song, we freeze frame on the musicians throwing their instruments in the air and then fade to black before a collection of title cards labeling each character, but they didn't even pick useful screenshots for most of them, so it was still surprisingly hard to put a name to each of these faces. That's Beach House. That's the whole movie.
What I thought was going to happen, and it kind of does happen, was there's going to be a rivalry, and then something's going to happen to bring them together. Like, they're going to close the beach house, or they're closing the emergency park. We have to work together.
Right.
Like, that's classic 80s formula.
Yeah.
And so when the creeper guy is like, and like, it's like, oh, okay, they're all going to go out and look for Cindy, but they don't. Only one guy from each group goes, and neither of them rescue Cindy.
Right. I thought they were going to follow the Romeo and Juliet metaphor the whole way through the story, and it was going to be like a tragic ending.
Yeah.
Like something bad was going to happen to both of them.
That would have actually been an interesting movie.
But instead, two groups of people who would get along fine if they had just met each other decided for no reason that they were rivals before they started talking. Like, literally, before they've even seen who's upstairs, they're like, who the fuck is upstairs? Who are those fuckers that are in a different place than we are? And it's like, why do you care at all about that? And so the second they see them, they're already picking fights. Hey, your earring looks stupid. Oh, your mom had sex with my penis.
What?
And then that's what he says, sort of. I'm using proper words.
Paraphrasing.
I'm weird of phrasing. But for no reason, these people don't get along. And then for almost no reason again, they do suddenly get along. It's like, why are they friends now? Because we got arrested and now we're cool.
And we played baseball.
Yeah. Following the Twilight.
I thought it was going to be The Chosen.
That too. Yeah. It's exactly like that. So just two groups of kids have a beach house together and someone tries to attack one of their sisters. The end. We don't even know what happened to Marty.
Nope.
And my best guess is that Marty's free. Marty's walking free. He's hung over in his apartment this morning. They probably just knocked him over and walked back to the beach house.
Well, because Marty seems to get arrested a lot because the desk sergeant recognizes him.
He's like, oh, let me guess, another attempted rape and murder.
Yeah.
This fucking guy. Get out of here.
Another warning for you, sir.
One more of these. I swear to God, this time I'm going to put my foot down. See you later, son. What the hell? Marty's his kid? This movie was really hard for me, honestly. This is one of those movies, if it's in the nothing personal category where it's like, are we done? Can we be done with the podcast?
It's so much worse than that, though.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the production value, it's definitely a worse movie. But I mean, what it did to my brain in terms of like, I'm trying way too hard to figure out what happened in this like sub-student film nonsense.
Yeah, it was a difficult watch on many levels. One, it's just not a good transfer.
Right.
So it's just dark. It's not easy to see what's happening. It's hard to understand some of the words. Nobody says any names. Nobody.
Yeah.
Well, there's no plot.
And there's 15 characters when there should be 4 or 6 maximum.
Yeah, 6. I would say like. Yeah, 6 seems like a good number that I could wrap my head around.
Yeah.
It literally took me probably like 4 or 5 sitting downs to actually get through this because every few minutes I would feel like I'd have to stop and go like find something more interesting to do.
Like, how does it affect the story if you take Snooky out of it?
I kept coming back and like, wait, where were we? And I would back it up and I'm like, wait, did I see this already or not? Because I couldn't tell where I was in the movie at any point because they was all the same.
But so few of the characters do make any actual change to the plot. It's literally just the guy and the girl that are like the central romantic characters, Anthony and Cindy, and then her brother and his girlfriend. Those could be the only 4 characters in this whole thing. Yeah,
because they're the only ones that interact, with the exception of Baby coming in to save the day at the end.
Yeah, and Baby's still like a comic relief character. And it seems like Snooky is just a secondary comic relief character, but he's so grating that you just hate him the whole time. But it doesn't hurt the movie if you take Snooky out, you take Frank out, you take the whole band out, you get Billy out of there, because who the fuck is Billy? Get Janey out of there, because Janey does Janey say anything in the whole movie?
I don't know.
She's just like, oh, it was nice of them to invite us to this party. I think that's the only thing she says in the whole movie. It's really, really bad. Thumbs up, though. I mean, like, reluctant. No, definitely thumbs down for this one.
That's good. No, thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
And did you guys letterbox this?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did.
But
I did.
I mean, I didn't have to pull
Give
up
me
the
a
website.
half a second.
I just need you to tell me a number, and then I'll tell you. How many movies have we covered?
I have it at 67 out of 67. And it's below If You Could See What I Hear.
Boy, I like this movie a lot more than you. I have it at 66 out of 67.
Oh, my God.
Wait, what's below it?
10 Violent Women.
At least there was like half-naked women in that one, though.
Yeah, but I couldn't... That movie was even darker lit, I feel, than
Yeah,
this
it
one.
probably was.
So it's below The Comeback Trail and above 10 Violent Women.
I'm actually going to go ahead and put it in 67 out of 67, which is just under If You Could See What I Hear.
There you go. I didn't use your list. No, I didn't. Okay, we're good.
Because I couldn't see in this movie. Our writer-director here was John A. Gallagher. This was his first writing and directing gig, if you can believe that. Next season, he writes Stuck on You, but not the Siamese Twins comedy. From there, he writes and directs a dozen other films I didn't recognize. A writer credit for Marino Amoruso. Looks like most of his work is on TV movie documentaries on various pop culture figures. He plays Michael in the film. The music came from Adam Roth, who seems to be a friend of Denis Leary's, with composer credits on several of his comedy specials, followed by 27 episodes of Rescue Me. Looks like he also plays Googie in the film. So the lead singer of the band also composed this film and wrote all the music performed by the band in the film. The other music credit is for C.P. Roth, not much else I recognized. The cinematographer here was Peter Stein. So far on the show, he was second unit camera on Friday the 13th and a DP on Friday the 13th Part 2. Later he lights Chud, Ernest Saves Christmas, Pet Sematary, Ernest Goes to Jail, Graveyard Shift, Necessary Roughness, and Mr. Nanny. Editor credit for Victor Kanefsky. He also cut Ganja and Hess, Bloodbath, and Bloodsucking Freaks. The other editor credit was for Sam Pollard, who later cuts Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, and Surviving the Game. Ileana Seidel played Cecile. No other credits. John Cosola played Anthony. No other credits, but the actress who plays Terry, misspelled Donna Lasola in IMDb, is credited in the film with the same last name, Cosola, so I'm pretty sure they're siblings or something, Anthony and Terry. Kate McNeil played Cindy. This was her first film. She follows it up later this season with The House on Sorority Row and later Monkey Shines and Sudden Death. Richard Duggan played Jimmy. He's back this season as a construction worker in Q the Winged Serpent. Stuck on You, written by this film's director. He's an ice cream man in The Toxic Avenger. Later, he's in A Return to Salem's Lot, It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive, and Tales from the Crypt episode Till Death Do Us Part. Paul Anderson played Baby. He also played a banker in Harry's War last season. Now, I almost want to revisit Harry's War.
Don't do it.
That's embarrassing.
Do it. Because I mean, I'm assuming that's the bank that he crashes a half track through, right?
Oh, for sure, right? We kept cutting in. Half track. Every time I said tank. Chris Phillips played Nudge. He voices characters on Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. He's credited as Face in Allegra's Window and Blue's Clues. But most famously, he's the voice of Roger Klotz on Doug. Chris Phillips, who plays Nudge, is the voice of Roger Klotz.
No kidding.
That can't be true.
It is true, according to IMDb.
Because what's Fry's voice actor?
Billy West is listed as Roger Klotz.
Well, then there's more people that do Roger Klotz.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for when it was Disney's Doug.
Because he had lots of episodes as Roger Klotz. He also provides many voices over the course of children's animated series Bubble Guppies. Jonathan Paley played Drake. He's credited as a stand-in for Chris Cooper in Spike Jonze's adaptation. Eddie Brill played Snooky. This is the only person I recognized in this movie, because I've actually seen his stand-up before. He plays a caveman in Stuck on You. He also plays himself in the second episode of FX series Louie. Despite his insufferable character in the film, he is an accomplished comedian and was a longtime warm-up comedian for The Late Show with David Letterman. He was eventually removed from that position for comments he made about the authenticity of the material of modern female comics.
So yes, you are correct. He did play Roger Klotz when it went over to Disney.
Okay, that was when they changed like the animation style a little bit of each of the characters.
But they even Billy West is gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they changed everything about Doug.
I do remember Klotz's voice changing, and I think they even got rid of what's her name that does the Patty Mayonnaise voice too, and her hairstyle changed and everything. So did Klotz's, because he had like a mohawk at the beginning.
So yeah, you're right.
Everybody's right. It's okay. We can move on.
Yay.
No, I want to talk about this.
Along with this film's composer / Googie actor Adam Roth, Nudge actor Chris Phillips, and mutual friend Denis Leary, They founded the Emerson Comedy Workshop. Regan Kennedy played Billy, he's a gay caveman, and Stuck on You. And Bobbie Amoruso played Louie. No other credits, but presumably related to screenwriter Marino Amoruso. I think that's everything for Beach House. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, I'm shocked and appalled and frankly disappointed in you. You can find all our socials at linktree/vintagevideopod. And if you really like the show, maybe you should join our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/vintagevideopodcast for access to all our monthly 70s reviews and a hand in choosing next month's film. Patrons are currently choosing between Day of the Locust, The Iger Sanction, The Fortune, French Connection 2, The Happy Hooker, Mandingo, Mary Mary Bloody Mary, Moonrunners, The Return of the Pink Panther, or The Wind and the Lion for a 50th anniversary review next month. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you'll join us next time when we'll be discussing Death Valley, which IMDb describes like so. A divorced mother, her young son, and her new boyfriend set out on a road trip through Death Valley and run afoul of a local serial killer. We leave you now with the trailer for Death Valley.
Billy thought the hardest thing he ever had to do was say goodbye to his father.
Listen, will you write me a postcard?
Sure. He was wrong. He thought meeting his mother's new boyfriend would be even harder.
Come on. What do you see the trip I got planned for it? She's gonna love it.
I hope so.
He was wrong again. Billy found out on this vacation
You look terrific, Billy. Yeah, real cowboy. Right, Mom?
the hardest thing is just to survive. A new family together for the first time. Here in Death Valley, they'll be secluded, isolated, but not quite alone. In the mind of a madman, they have been chosen. On a road to nowhere, they are being hunted. And when the sunlight dies in Death Valley, he will come for them. Death Valley was a great place for a family vacation until the tourist business started dying.